Welcome everybody to Eye of the Serpent Tarot for another pick a card. So today is another of the additional ones to my standard schedule at the moment, where I'm primarily looking at astrological transits, so I will mix it up and do some other things. It's just probably in the months that don't have really interesting astrological transits happening, I'll look at like having some fun readings and other things like that. But certainly here at the end of March, if you're seeing this when it's published, there's an interesting kind of combination of astrological transits and energies that inspired the question, what new purpose or ambition is arising in you, and is it true to your path? And there's a reason why these energies, this is something that's good to explore at this point, which I'll go into. But before I do that, I just want to say, if you happen to have stumbled upon this at some time later than when this was published, which is at the end of March in 2025, even though these transits will not be happening at that point in time, I think if you're drawn to it, it will be because there's some sort of similar astrological energy in your chart, so in your personal chart. So don't feel like, oh, I've clicked on the wrong one. If you do actually feel drawn to this, by all means, choose your pile and just think of it in those terms rather than just the time period that this was done for. I'm not going to call it a timeless reading, but I am going to point out in the video description that if you are drawn to see it, if the algorithm decides to send it out randomly in a year's time, that's fine. It will be because there is a message there for those who maybe didn't see it at this point. So, and it's a topic too that even if you do see it at the time it's published, if, in a year or two's time you are thinking about a new thing and you want to kind of check back about, is it on line with my path, you can always revisit and see what pile it draws you. So that's the I guess the kind of interesting thing in doing readings that are around astrological transits, because they pass, they change, some more slowly than others, particularly outer sort of planets. But even with that, they will change. But there are so many different combinations of things in your natal chart and transits to your natal chart that could have similar sort of energy, that it's nigh on timeless. But for those watching it at the time it's published, this energy is happening right now. So that's a pretty key thing to be considering. Now, the energy it's a combination of, we have the new moon, three things in Aries, two that have to be in Aries together since the first is. So the first one is the new moon, and on the 29th. And then we have a solar eclipse on the 30th. And they're both in Aries. And then what's also happening is that on the 30th, Neptune is going into Aries. So Aries is the first sign in the zodiac. It is something new. It's the initiation of something. It's the natural leaders, all of that kind of energy. So it's going to be looking at something that you want to kind of either lead out on, or you want to initiate, you want to start. It's a lot of new energy and so forth. But the thing that's interesting, when you've got a solar eclipse, so you've in a sense got the sun and the moon in a dance of dominance. That's how I see eclipse energy. So there's the question of, is the moon bringing a sort of depth to a solar energy and a life path energy? And in fact, even though they're eclipsing, they're kind of almost joining hands and it is on your life path, or are they kind of at odds? Is it a detour in some sense? Not that it matters if it is really. It doesn't mean you can't do something. It just means that it's a detour, and to be aware of that in terms of your bigger life purpose. But then the other thing is that Neptune is going into Aries. Now, Neptune is a wonderful planet in many ways. It can be the ideal. It's highly psychic energy. It's very spiritual, but it can also be an illusion. It can be where things are not true, not real, all of that kind of thing. So it seems to me there's an interesting energy at the moment where there would be probably a drive to do something new. But whether it is on your life path and aligning with it, or whether it's a little bit of a detour, that's one question. The other question is whether it's actually what you think it is. So that's what we're going to be looking at. We're going to be looking at the balance of the sun-moon energy. We're going to be taking into context that Neptune's around as well and what that could mean, and just sort of see what it means for your path. So that's basically the idea at the moment. And if you know what the new thing is, that's great. You can like put it in that context, but otherwise it's just an energy of something new, and it just could be just revitalizing something in your life, but being able to assimilate it and balance it and make it something that is either long-term, or if it is a detour, that it's a nice little detour like a holiday and then you get back on the path. So that's what we're looking at. The other thing I'll say quickly, though, I will repeat it at the end of the each reading because I don't think everybody listens to the introductions, which is fine. This is another one where I'm going to, at the end, ask you to choose a number between 1 and 5, and I'm going to deal out 5 cards from a particular tarot deck, and I will then talk about what it means for the corresponding number that's chosen for a little bit more differentiation within the collective that's coming to the reading. So that's about all I think I need to say in terms of introduction. So to help choose piles, I'm using the Queen of the Sun deck because I want to make sure that we are keeping in focus here your life path. As I say, whether there's a detour, which could be fine, or whether it's a line, the life path is kind of a real starting point or a thing to be not forgetting. There is underneath this another of the Queen of the Sun cards, and there's a Queen of the Moon. So then we'll have a look at the balancing energy that's operating with that and see whether it's in conflict, if it's in concert and in a dance, or whether it's having a little bit of a battle. And we're going to also look at, with the Akashic Truth Record, the kind of area of life this might be most playing out in as well. So for pile number 1, we have Purpose, and it's card number 1. Somebody asked me in a comment recently to actually say the numbers for the significator for the choice. So whenever there is a number on the card, I will. So card number 1 for pile number 1, Purpose. Card number 23 for Welcome for pile number 2. And card number 44, the Center, for pile number 3. And I have to say I was amused when I looked at these because I think the Sun's saying, look, the Sun is ultimately still going to be really dominant in this. It's those are pretty powerful cards to be leading out for the choice. So that's good. And there's lots of sunlight, even if there's an eclipse, to help you work out what's real. But you can go to more than one reading if you wish. There might be more than one thing you're looking to initiate, and it might be able to differentiate which is the most solid and likely to succeed and in line with what you want to do. You do you with that, but when you know what all readings you want to go to, the timestamps as always are in the description box below, and I'll see you there. Welcome pile 1 to your reading. So you came to the reading with Purpose, the solar cycle. So, the first card in the deck, the one that's saying, in a sense, the whole deck is about solar cycles. So it's very much, I think it's very much saying the sun energy in this is very important for you. It's like it's in the first house. It's in its natural place, and that's where Aries is. So, all this happening in Aries is very interesting. So there is definitely something in what you are going to get inspired to do or what you're wanting to pursue or what this energy brings to you that sets up a very long-term cycle, I would say. This is not a short-term issue. And we are going to look at the area in your life and we're going to explore this, but this is pretty long-term. I would see this, the very least, minimum a year-long thing. Because from starting with Aries and going all the way around. But, some of the outer planets, if they're strongly associated with this, and a bit later we're going to look at what other planets are associated with it, then it could be even longer than that. But this is the beginning of a big cycle. So this is something that is big. Now, the first thing I would say about that is that if we're trying to say, is this just a detour? It needs to be a very well thought out detour because it may be taking you off. It doesn't have to be, and we are going to see, but if we see as we go through that it is taking you a little bit off your life path, then you need to really think about it because it's long term. It could be fine. Look, a really good fine one of this is like a gap year. It's not that it's not possible, but you have to think about the implications of it and go back to your purpose. But you are very focused on your purpose overall. So my guess is that most people who come to this reading, that you will be this will align with your life purpose probably more than some other new initiatives might. But it is a commitment. There's a commitment energy. And that's really interesting then because when we look at the moon and the sun, I think that they are more in harmony with each other than battling each other. But there is an interesting, I almost feel like sun hot, moon cool. So hot and cold, not cold necessarily, cool more likely. So warm and cool maybe is more to the point. Sort of active, reflective. It's a balance on that sort of level. So I don't think that the moon is sort of like blotting out the sun or the sun is blotting out the moon sort of thing, like whatever's happening technically in the sky. But I think that The sun energy is the strongest energy for you around this. And I mean, some of you may have strong Aries in your chart, actually. You don't have to, but you may. It doesn't have to be your sun either. It could be other planets, because it just seems to fit. There's something about passion here. For some of you, this might be about a relationship. And so it could be that a new relationship is starting. And you know what? I mean, if that's very long-term, that's great. I don't think it's a short-term thing. I don't think any of this that's happening is a short-term thing. But otherwise, this is some new idea or ambition that connects with your passion, with what you really want to do. It connects with the season of Beltane. So there's a deep sort of fertility energy to this. Like I'm getting, for some of you, it could be something like, starting a family. And that has the period of gestation, birth, and then the big change that occurs as a result of that. It doesn't have to be that, but there's sort of a fertility energy to this, a passion energy to it. So this is like a passion project. So even if it was, like say it was sort of something in a vocation or whatever, even if it wasn't, the next big career step, it could be, this is something I'm going to go and do, a project I'm going to go and do because I'm really passionate about it. But that's the case, I think, very much thinking about the cycles. Is a period of time that is worth doing it? Because what the moon is asking you to do with this is have wisdom about this. It's not just to run away with the passion and the excitement of it. Yes, it's my purpose. I can see it, like I'm running with it. Because remember, we are dealing with Neptune as well here. So it is possible to idealize a passion project, idealize a relationship, idealize a spiritual quest. So the moon is asking for a reflective period, like a time to go in. And it's interesting because it's waning gibbous moon. And so I'm sort of feeling if the sun is a long solar cycle, the moon has the shorter cycle. So I feel like it's saying that the moon around the time of the waning gibbous is a time for you to kind of reflect on, am I still on the path? Because it looks like, one path going in one direction. Am I still passionate about it? Where am I on the path? When is this going to culminate in whatever it is that I need? And particularly if it's taking you off your general life path, even if it is on your life path, is it taking you as fast along that as you expected? So I think that the Aryan moon energy is to initiate some sort of, it's almost like key performance indicators or a strategic plan or a kind of a set of criteria that allows you to reflect on how you're going along that path. Because passion can like slow you down, speed you up, take you a little bit off the path without even realizing it. So it's sort of like, this is almost like your navigation. I think that's what we're looking at in this energy. And I think it's because Neptune could idealize. And I think there is probably something really wonderful in this, but it could be idealized. So let's see what area in life this is most likely to fall. Now, it doesn't have to, because we're doing a collective reading. So if this comes up as being career or something like that, but you think, oh, I've just started a new relationship, it doesn't mean it isn't your reading. It's just you're maybe a little bit different to the collective on that level, which is fine. But for the greater majority of this collective, this energy is most likely to show up around career and business. Okay. I didn't know that was what was going to come up when I was saying if it's career, but nevertheless, it is most likely a passion project at work, something that you really care about, an opportunity you really care about, as I say, some sort of maybe even temporary opportunity, whatever it is. But in assessing how this is working with it, how long to do it, or whatever you need to do, wisdom. Now, we're going to just get some advice from the Akashic Truth Oracle, so we'll see maybe where to most focus the wisdom. Self-love. You are worthy and deserving of all the abundance in the universe. Treat yourself with the love and respect you desire, and others will follow suit. So, yeah, okay, that fits. Purpose, passion. It's like when we really align with our purpose, our passion with our purpose, not only are we likely to find it easier, I mean, it won't necessarily be easy, but easier than if we're pushing against our purpose and what we're here for. But I think it's where we most will feel aligned to ourselves. So I think this is the thing. It's like, what would be the criteria to make you feel that you were still passionate about the direction and happy with yourself, that this was making you feel you were bringing in what you deserved, you were being respected, you respected yourself, you were excited about it. So, and Neptune, again, can be part of that. It can be like allowing yourself to dream, having the self-respect and self-love to dream, but having the wisdom of the moon to make sure that you're not going off course. Okay, so what we're going to look at with tarot, we're going to use a moon tarot, for both the question about the ambition that's coming with the new moon, and we're also going to use it for anything that Neptune is doing, because this particular tarot with the colouring and so forth, I think fits both with moon energy and Neptune energy. Then we're going to use a different tarot that is more about the sun and life and fertility and you know, the environment and all that kind of thing, to have a look at is this on your current life path? Is this part of the longer term life path? And I'm going to start actually with a coin, which a yes/no coin, which came with the Mercury Oracle, because we're going to use the Mercury Oracle a bit later. And we're going to literally throw the coin and see whether it says yes or no. And then we're going to use the tarot to look at what it says, depending upon the answer. So let's go first with the moon question. So what ambition is arising with the new moon? New moon in Aries, what ambition, what new initiative, what new energy is arising for you? Given that it's most likely for most of you around your career, and it does have, it's something like a passion project or something you really want to do. We have the Four of Cups, or Four of Chalices, the Four of Wands, the Three of Wands, the Five of Pentacles, and the Queen of Cups reversed. Okay, so there is something about this that is being initiated by you not feeling that you're emotionally on your path. Like you're kind of, you know, I think you're pretty strongly on a direction, and you kind of know theoretically what you want to do, but like it's almost as though the passion has got blocked or stuck. You're not feeling you're in an authentic situation. There's something about this energy, whether it is that you pursue a new job or take on a project or something like that, to get your heart back in it, or whether you're just feeling that energy and you know you need to do something. It's about aligning back with your heart and aligning back with an emotional energy that feels right. Some of the things that are interesting, I thought that was the Four of Wands, but it's actually the Five of Wands. I put my glasses on. I need it for the writing on here. You do have some conflict about doing this. Part of it is it may not pay as well if it's a career thing, or you may feel that you might feel a bit isolated, or you may feel that you're going to be at odds with others when you do it. So part of the understanding of this is that you are making a decision to follow a path regardless of whether others agree or whether others follow with you. So, you know, it could be, you know, in your career, if you sort of think, I'll just give an example, like I think that AI would be amazing in this workplace and will completely revolutionize how we do things. And a lot of people going, no, I feel really threatened by that. You may decide to go do a project on that. You may decide to go to an organization that's more open to AI. I'm not saying it has to be AI. I'm just trying to use an example where the new energy that you have around something is threatening in some way to others, or others are likely to be in conflict. You're likely to be the first, the earlier adopter. Like in organizational strategy and organizational change, we talk about groups of people, and we tend to say that for any new initiative, there's always what we call the early adopters. They get it, they run with it. That's usually a small group of people. Then you have people who gradually come on board, and then you have the people who always stay in opposition to it and usually self-select out. So, and I'm using the career organizational one because there is a career thing here. So I think that this new opportunity, it is your pathway, but it is requiring you to be more potentially isolated or step out way ahead of others. So that's why passion, you really have to be passionate about this. And it's actually, I think, the feeling that you haven't been passionate about what you've been doing that's driving this. That makes it really interesting then to have a look at the Neptune thing, because it could be that the block and the wish for something new is what's driving this, as opposed to something new waking this energy up so that you feel ready to do it. So it's very important here, if we have a look at the Neptune energy, about, does this feel like it's real, or does it feel like it's sort of like an ideal that may not have the substance that you want it to have? So Makes sense too that there's such a drive towards what is true to you, given the sun is such a strong energy for this group. So Neptune, what's Neptune's influence on this? Is it real or not? Or quasi-real, somewhere in between? The Five of Swords, the Tower, well, it's big, whatever it is. The Ten of Pentacles, I do think it's real. I do think it's realistic, but it's big. It's probably bigger than you think. And the Fool reversed. Okay, so what Neptune's influence in this actually is nudging you with the moon, is actually connecting with the moon. This is what's sort of going on here. It's working in tandem with the moon because it's not that present. Like, it is there, but it's not that present. Now, that's probably good because it's not an illusion. Like, what you're wanting to do has merit, and it will create something lasting. This is, again, like, this is going to take time. It goes a full cycle. It lasts a full cycle. But it's major change. It's a bigger change than you think. So the one thing that you may not fully see clearly is that this is most likely having you leaving behind a lot. And realizing certain battles, where you're working, the people you're working with, whatever it might be, you have to walk away because they're not going to come with you. This is a very massive shift, but it is towards something that is very solid, and it does use the abilities that you've had before. Like you're not starting from it's not like this is like a snakes and ladders and you go up a certain period, certain way, and then you're going to fall back. It is continually taking in the direction that you want, and you are dealing with wisdom that you already have. This is the wisdom again. You have the wisdom. It's not naivety. The new is not naive. Yes, it's passionate because that's the thing that's triggering it. And I do think it's what's triggering it. It's triggering it because you feel at odds with something. But nevertheless, that's necessary because this is a very big change that's meant to happen. But it will bring a great deal of stability and probably good money, good career, whatever it is. Now, I just want to quickly say with this, if it's not, for anybody that it's not about career, because as I say, for some of you it may not be. If this is around a relationship, I think you've got to move from one to bring one in. To be honest, that's what it's sort of saying. Or if it's friendships, move from one friendship circle to another because you're at odds with that energy. So that the drive towards this, the passion is the drive is kind of like the sun sort of saying that you've got to reconnect with that because you're not in the right environment for that. And the moon is giving you the wisdom to know, yes, it feels like it's walking away. It feels like things falling apart, but it's actually building something new and you do have the wisdom to do it. Okay, so then we're going to look at the sun. Now, as I say, I'm going to just toss this coin. I'm going to do it off camera because I'll just probably smash the camera if I try and do it on camera. And then I'll just come forward and sort of show what it is. And all I'm going to ask is this thing, this new approach, this change, and it is big, but it doesn't necessarily mean, is it on your current soul path at the moment? Or is it not? And then depending upon what you get, we'll see what that means. So is it on that? No. Okay. So although the sun is very strongly connected to this, this is not being called to you because it's part of your life path to do it. I don't think it takes you a lot off the life path, though. I think the fact that that's the case, the impetus of the new thing is not about your life path. It's not about. So it's either to get the passion back, you're taking a bit of a detour off, and then we'll come back, or I think it might be nuanced with this group. I think that it might be that it's not, the question here is not whether it's on your life path or not, because it is connected to a deeper passion, which is on your life path. The question is not about that. I think for you, the question is the direction and the place and the people to be with. So let's see, given that, what does the sun have to say about this for you? So that's a nuance I didn't really expect, but it makes sense with this. Because I don't think, given that said no, what you want to do right now is not about, it's not sort of like a part of the normal life path, but it's not necessarily a detour off it either. It's just finding a different place for it, I think, or a different group of people. So what do we get around the sun? Six of Coins, Ace of Swords. Yeah, it's the new ideas. Five of Coins reversed, the Empress reversed, and the King of Coins, or King of Cups reversed. Okay. So, yeah, I feel like this is, if you could almost imagine these steps, it's still going in that direction. It's still on a life path, but it's kind of like the life path itself shifts slightly or even like shifting timelines or something. And they may or may not just shift back. But it's something to reignite the passion, reignite the connection. The sun is saying you will have people that support you. I mean, it's people you're moving away from, but like around a career, you're likely to get a new job if you go for one. You're likely to have a new mentor or coach that would, or a new manager that would support this. The universe is trying to support it. And the new idea does bring a clarity. So there's not a lot you have to worry about with Neptune here. Like Neptune is not really getting in the way of it a lot at all. And it is about finding your people. And it's finding your people more than money. You are going to, like, what comes out of this is going to be good career-wise, money-wise, or whatever. But it only grows to a certain point too. So it's like it connects you with better people so you don't feel as alone, and it will provide money. But with the Empress reverse, it is for a time. This is why it's a cycle. It's like it's on your life path, but it's a different place. So an ideal thing for that would be like, you are on a secondment somewhere, or if you are on, if you're an academic, you're on a sabbatical. It's that kind of energy. It's the life path moving slightly to the left or right, and then it will move back. It doesn't have to move back literally to the same career place, but it will move back to the trajectory that you were on before. And it's about healing something because you felt really blocked. This is like the universe is wanting to give you that energy so that you don't feel so blocked. So this is what we're talking about. It is of a reasonable duration, and it will be good for you financially, I think, and it will give you a sense of stability. But it's a big change, but it grows to a certain point, and after that, you'll probably then kind of realign back into what you'd expected to be doing. That's the sort of energy we're looking at. Okay, let's use the Mercury Oracle then. Let's see what Mercury has to say in the midst of all of this. Because when you're dealing with big ticket issues and Neptune may be making things not clear, it's really good to have Mercury. I mean, Mercury can be a trickster, of course, as well. But Mercury is communication and thinking and clarity in many ways. So let's just see the energy that the Mercury Oracle brings to the reading at this point. Conceal yourself. Oh, now this might be some wisdom you have to have. This may be actually for some of you, you're on a trajectory, but you're blocked emotionally, you're not really kind of excited about it. This may be an opportunity, not necessarily that has to be hidden. Like if you move in a workplace or something, it's going to be known, but what you're trying to do with it and what your long-term thing may be, you may need to kind of keep a bit on the down low, like why you're doing it and so forth. Like there's something about this environment, and this is the Tower energy and some of the other stuff. It's like it's big. So it's almost like conceal what your longer term ambitions are. Just focus on what this is. Because if the Neptune energy is around, I think it's other people not being clear or other people being deceitful. And so sometimes it's a little bit good to be a little bit invisible. We have give patience to the road. Yeah, it's a longer term thing. And actually, that's a really perfect way, because I keep going, shifting off to the side. It's sort of like your overall life path trajectory is very clear in many ways, but it's almost like you have to make it a little bit twisty-turny. So this is like a twist in the road. And that might be half of concealing yourself. For some of you, you may be meant to be very powerful, very wealthy, or something like that. And you may need to hide some of your ambition and even the purpose of what you're doing to not have other people trying to kind of get in the way. And then we get make your demons work. Okay. Yeah, there's a lot about ambition. Okay. So one of the things about Aries is it's the first sign, as I say, it's natural leaders. But its shadow can be bossy and kind of like my way or the highway. So there may be a little bit of that in you, and I'm not, you might have this strong Aries energy, or this energy may really make you feel that way because you've got so blocked and you're not feeling passionate anymore. It's like, I've just got to do it. I think it's like, because this is clearing a block, this is you kind of like, what are my inner demons about this? What's making me feel frustrated? Use that to almost firepower the tower energy we saw so that you can move it into something that does work for you on a material level. But there is also something about other energies around. And like, it's almost like understanding your own shadow so that you can recognize the shadow around you. Wait until dark. Yeah, there's something undercover. I'm going to get a little bit more on those two because there's something a little bit undercover about this as well too. It's have your ambitions, but don't. Feels very Sun Tzu Art of War, actually. Don't necessarily let people know exactly what you're doing or why you're doing it at this point in time. And Jupiter, okay, so Jupiter's another planet that's operating with this. So you are protected, and it is about expansion, it is about wealth, it is about all of those sort of things. So that's why it's saying it's you're going to do well out of it. Let's have just a little bit more about, firstly, the conceal yourself and then the wait until dark. I want to see what that's about. It's intriguing. Contact the other. Okay, so this could mean a number of things. For some people, it may be that this is finding your support and you need to do it very carefully. So like plenty of people in organisations, particularly the private sector, have to be careful about anybody knowing they're looking for another opportunity until they've secured it. So it could be just that you have to, like, you're seeing an opportunity, you need to talk about it, you need to get the signature on the contract before you can actually tell people that you're doing something. And so this may be very much about keeping in contact with the other place, the twist in the road, whatever it is, the people associated with that, but not letting other people know you're doing it at the moment. Let's see, wait until dark. Sagittarius, freedom. Like, it's like escaping in the night. Like, I do think, I think because this is mainly about career or your purpose and something like that. This is about freedom. It is escaping a situation that's not right for you. You may want to go more rapidly than you actually can, but a lot of this has to do with very carefully and under the cover, in a sense, make the contacts, get the connections, get the offer, and then do the thing. But like, look at this, the demon's working, which is the passion feeling sort of stuck as the thing that actually gets you going. I'm just going to get one more for make the demons work for you. Speak your truth. Okay, so, and that almost feels a little bit contradictory to this. So what I would say, firstly, when we've got Neptune around, I think how it's operating for this group is that Neptune is kind of more in the other. It's more in other people around you and the situation you're in. So you've reached that point where there is a truth, and that's what's pushing you. There are ways of speaking your truth, though. Head on and being really open is probably not going to help you because this is sort of something you've got to secure via somebody else, and it's a little bit twisty, so you have to be careful with what you say. So it's kind of, speak the truth firstly to those about what you want to do, then to those that you're separating out from. That way you minimize the conflict around it. Wait until dark, I think, is also a connection to the moon. Like, always make sure, do a reflective exercise around this probably every evening or whatever, particularly when the change of energy is happening, to just make sure that what you're doing is what you want, that it's wise, that you've spoken the right truths to the right people. And that you are understanding how this fits in with your longer term path. Okay, so let's just see what other astrological energies, we do know we have Jupiter, but what else is in play for you at this time? Venus and Venus, yeah, it's about like what you're passionate about. It's what you love, what's beautiful to you. Now, for some, this could be a relationship. If this is a relationship, and I just keep coming back to it because I think some people that have come here, it might be more a relationship energy, and I don't want to lose that. If I was looking at the Mercury Oracle, it's like this is sort of something. It's like you may be with someone that's not right, but you've met someone else, and you've got to wait your time. You've got to kind of like make sure you're going in the right direction before you speak out about the relationship you're in. So it's about that. But this is about a kind of heart connection. And Mercury, Saturn, yeah, it's like being very judicious in what you say. It is speaking truth when you do speak truth and when you do speak, but it is being very judicious, and speaking the language of almost the system that you're in. You have to understand that, or the system that you're going to. Okay, so let's finish up with the 1 to 5. So if you didn't listen to my rather lengthy introduction, and apologies for the length of it if you did, I'm just finishing this one out in a similar way that I've done with some other picker cards recently, where I'm going to ask you to choose a number between 1 and 5, and then I'm going to deal out 5 cards from another tarot deck, and I'm just going to say, this is, if you chose number 1, this is your summation of this energy. If you chose number 2, and so forth. Can choose more than one number if you want, but maybe try and think of what the main number is, and then any others are sort of subsidiary numbers. So if you haven't done it already, pause, because I'm shuffling now and I'm about to deal out. So for number 1, we have 8 of Cups reversed. For number 2, we have 2 of Cups. For number 3, we have Knight of Wands. For number 4, we have 5 of Cups. And for number 5, we have Strength. So if you chose number 1, the biggest thing for you in all of this, the thing that's going to take the most energy, is letting go of what you are now. Now, this could be for a number of reasons. If this is in a career situation, it might be that it takes a bit of time to get the other situation, and you can't talk about this or move for some reason until it does. But it may also be that you enjoyed working where you were overall, or you like the people, but they're just not on your path anymore, and it's a little bit hard. So you do need to process. Process the fact that you are emotionally stuck. This could be also the thing that's around the Neptunian energy. If you are feeling that you don't want to move on, look into that, because that's where Neptune's clouding it. It's kind of like there's an emotional block operating, and it would be almost like Neptune is putting that on steroids to stop the change. But you're meant to do this change. If you chose number 2, this is probably about a relationship. So this is about moving from one to the other. And either in a way could have been on your life path, in as much as a relationship is meant to be on your life path. But this is a better connection, I would say. But you've got to take it carefully. And even that sort of feels like the sun and the moon is sort of like, what do you show to the world? What do you keep in the shadows until it's sorted out? If you chose number 3, this will all happen quite fast. The situation is probably a longer term cycle, as I said, and you do have to have patience about that. But I think the movement energy will happen quite fast. And for some of you, it might require moving home. If you chose number 4, this is really fueled by a disappointment. If you get to the core of what the disappointment is, you'll understand that. But it is important to understand the disappointment, because we have the Neptune energy. And Neptune is not really strong in this reading overall, but it is there. It's going on. So it's really important maybe to make sure you understand what is the true disappointment or block, and then make your choices about what to free yourself of it. Not the other way around. Don't try and free it and then sort out what it did, because you could actually be fixing the wrong disappointment. So really be clear on that. And if you chose number 5, this is a very strong energy for you. You're going to be very strong in it, and it's going to show you your true strength. So I hope that resonates for you. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If so, please like the video and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome pile 2 to your reading, and using the word welcome is very appropriate here because you chose welcome. So the sun energy there, the overarching energy for this to me is about kind of being introduced to something new, welcomed into a group, welcomed into a relationship, welcomed into a workplace, welcomed into a spiritual approach, whatever it might be. And it is this energy, this Aryan energy, is very expansive on that level. You know, she's got her arms out. There's sort of almost like a kind of a half wreath that you're meant to sort of walk under and come into. There's something that feels a little bit ritualistic about it. Now, it doesn't mean that it literally is spiritual and about some sort of magical initiation, but for some of you it could be that, but it doesn't have to be that. There's something very welcoming. There's a new energy to be included in something, I think, around this, or that's the opportunity that's around. What's interesting about it, though, is I mean, you may have just found out about it or just had the invitation or just seen the opportunity in whatever form it is, or it's coming in and you really don't expect it. And you don't know what to make of it, to be honest. And so Neptune's probably going to be quite powerful here, I think. But the good news is around the sun energy, if we're looking at what the sun and the moon is doing, the moon is unexpected. There's a shock. There's something about this, the shock of the new, an opportunity, a recognition, a relationship, something that was the least expected. Like say it was a relationship, you could have got to a point in your life where you think, oh, I can't imagine falling in love. And then suddenly there's someone welcoming you into their life and it's like, what? But whatever it is, there's that kind of energy. So it is going to surprise you. There's a surprise coming with this. And of course, when we are surprised, even if we're feeling included, we don't know what we're being included in. And so we feel vulnerable. But the sun energy is Sekhmet, it's protection. So for some of you, it's like even the sun there is sort of saying, I'll work with the unexpected, but I'm a fierce protecting energy. So I'm going to make sure that it could be sort of something fun. It could be something that takes you off your path and that's fine. It could be on your path, but suddenly it's like with other people and other sort of things and you didn't expect this and you're not really sure what to make of it. I'm going to watch over it. So your life path energy and your soul energy is watching over this and protecting it because a lot is not known. And so I'm feeling that Neptune is actually really important for you in this transit. So let's see what area of life for most of the collective who've come to this reading it'll be about. Because, there could be a few that have come if it's about career, that it's about relationship or vice versa. But we're just going to look at like the greater majority. And then if you feel it's something else, some other surprise that happens, just apply the energies and the sort of general trend of the advice to the situation you're in. But for most, this is in career. Okay. It's interesting. That's the second one that was like that. So there might be a particular, it could make sense with Aries actually, there could be a career leadership sort of energy. So I think you could be welcomed into a new job, a new level, a new group within a workplace, a new network, a new professional network, a new business circle, a new industry. But there is something unexpected about this happening and you really don't know what to make of it. So that's the energy we're looking at. Let's see what the overall advice from the Akashic Truth Oracle is before we use the tarot. So the advice around this to best use this energy. Oh, professional assistance. It may be time to seek wise counsel. This could be in any life area, from legal or financial advice to more personal needs such as counseling or therapy. I think part of the protection the sun is bringing you may be a mentor, a coach, or some sort of professional advice, or it is in seeking that. Like you might go and talk to somebody about, your career, and then suddenly they go, actually, I've got the perfect role for you. Like there's something around that. So it's very much around who you are professionally. I do think the fact that both those cards are about that, I think for most of you it is around that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to firstly do some stuff with tarot, and we're going to use a deck that I think has both the energy of the moon and Neptune for the first two things we look at, and then I'm going to use a deck that has the energy of the sun. So what we're looking at first, we're looking from the moon's perspective, what is the new Aryan energy, ambition, initiative that's rising with this new moon. Then we're going to look at the impact of Neptune. Is what you're looking at real? Is it a bit illusory? Is it on your path or not in that kind of sense? Like what do you need to know about it? Like is it anything from ideal through to illusion? Or what could be that you need the protection from? Then we're going to use a coin. I'll just show you. That is yes and no. That's came with the Mercury Oracle, and we will look at the Mercury Oracle and see what Mercury has to say a little bit later in the reading. And now I'm just going to ask, is this thing on your sort of long-term life path, or is it a bit of a detour? And then we'll ask a deck that has more of sun energy in it, depending upon what that answer is, what it can tell us. And then we'll do some other oracles. But firstly, let's get a little bit more about the moon energy that we're looking at, which is this unexpected thing. So it comes as a shock. Like the eclipse energy around this is a bit of a shock to the life path, and a bit of a shock to what you thought of yourself and what you could do. And I think it's good, but it's very unknown, I think, in some way. So firstly, the Chariot, yeah, it's about movement. It's good. I think it is actually good. It's certainly taking you forward, and it's kind of, I mean, that already is saying this is pretty much on your life path, because the Chariot is your destiny. The Magician reverse, but yeah, you don't know whether to trust it. You don't know, is it coming from a good place? Can you believe what is being offered? Three of Pentacles. You've got to build a new foundation. Queen of Chalices, reverse. You're not entirely sure if this is what you want emotionally, or if you feel ready for it, if it aligns with your emotional thing. And Five of Wands, you're worried about kind of fallout, some sort of fallout that occurs with it. So you do see this as a capacity to find new collaborators, a new team. I think it's like being connected to a new team, a new professional network, a new level, like, moving into management or executive level things and being in a different peer group. There's something like that associated with it. It is definitely moving forward. This is a move forward. But you're not sure who to trust. You may not even be, for some of you, this might have come, somebody might be welcoming you. I feel like the Queen, for some of you, the Queen of Chalices or Queen of Cups reverse and the Magician reverse is this person. Like, it appears very expansive and wonderful, but you're not sure. Is this person going to be a good person to collaborate with? What's going on? You just don't know what. This is where you're feeling you need the protection. Like, is this person going to be on your side or not? And you're a little bit concerned about this becoming a battlefield. But on the other hand, it's just, there's a momentum. It's like you don't feel like you could sort of say no. You've got to explore this. So what's the impact with Neptune? The Page of Pentacles reversed, the Ten of Pentacles, the Five of Swords, the Two of Pentacles. Okay, yeah. This is very much around career. I don't think it's around anything else. If you don't feel like your career is the sort of thing of this energy, then try one of the other readings because it's very material. Okay. The issue for you with Neptune, I think if this is overall saying it is okay, it is okay. It's more solid than Neptune would normally be. So it's very unexpected. You don't know what you're doing with it. You don't know entirely who to trust. But with the Ten of Pentacles, they're upright. It does have a solidity to it. Oh, actually, I'm getting two things. It depends. It's going to depend on who comes to this. For some of you, it is a solid thing, but you haven't planned for it. And so the Neptune energy is just, this is kind of completely out of left field, completely unexpected. This is probably the dominant one, but I'm going to talk about the other one in a minute. But you haven't planned for it. But it can create something new. But it does require a change. It's like you go under the wreath and you're in from one world to another world sort of thing. And it requires a choice. So it's not, although there's a sense of the momentum or whatever, you do actually have the choice. And like, you may not realize you have the choice. So the Neptune energy might be that you think you've got no choice about doing that, but you do actually have a choice whether you do this or not. So I would say it's either a detour on your path, even if it can be fairly solid, or you have the choice, or it's something on your path, but it'll still take you to the same direction. So you have the choice one way or the other. You don't have to do this thing. But for some of you, the other way I'm getting is that you actually, the Neptune energy is you don't know what the material outcome is. And you're having to make a material choice when you don't know. You're walking away from stability and you're not sure what's going to happen with this. So it kind of depends. So for some of you, it may be, it's a new job opportunity. You're in a very solid job that's, got good prospects. It's on your life path. You feel like you're in the right career, right sort of industry or whatever, and you're given this opportunity to join a new startup or something. Like, this is an example. And it's got a lot of prospects to it, but you really don't. Does it have the solid stuff? And I'm walking away from something that's like maybe a bit slower, but gee, it's I'm going to get there. But do I have the choice or not? Is this too good an opportunity to pass up? And that's where Neptune could be clouding things a bit. So really doing your due diligence, if that's the case, on, like if it was a startup, does it look like it's well structured? Does it have, what's its sort of financials? Does it have a board? All that kind of thing. So, okay, let's see whether this is or isn't on a life path. So I'm going to toss the coin off camera and then sort of bring it in like that. And depending upon what we get, we'll see what the sun has to say. So is this on your life path specifically? Yes. So yeah, and that's what it felt like. It didn't feel like you were going off your life path. It was just a different way to do it. So if you choose to do this, it is on your life path. There's not a problem with that. But I kind of feel it's also saying you don't have to do it. So it's on in a similar trajectory to what you're doing, but it's different. It's a bit unknown, and maybe you can go a bit faster with it. And it is on your life path, but it doesn't mean that it's a certain thing. You know that it's going to work out as well as what you're doing at the moment. So that's where the choice is. So let's see what the Sun has to say about all of this. King of Coins, Nine of Swords. Yeah, there's a material worry about it. Like you worry a bit about this. Two of Swords reversed. Three of Cups reversed. Five of Coins reversed. Okay. Your worry is it a solid? So to whatever degree you can work that out before you make a decision, that's good. It's going to depend on, again, it's going to depend on who's coming to this. For those that it actually is a good thing, then yes, it is solid. The Sun is saying it's solid. You don't need to worry as much about that, and you don't need to really think that much about it. But know that the main thing about this is about the monetary growth. It's not about enjoyment. It's not like you actually enjoy this more, but it may have a lot of prospects for growth and for long-term, stability. But if it's you're leaving stability and you need to do the due diligence, then it's like the only way you can stop worrying about that is doing your due diligence. And if you do that, you may make a decision that although you're going to be around others, you don't feel as connected to that and you don't want to do it. Or it may be that the due diligence around it will make the decision for you in the end. Like it's either going to look okay or not, but you need to do that. So it's either you don't need to worry or you need to do something because you don't, that one thing not to think is this is something that you don't have a choice about. It's not, it's on your life path, but so is what you're doing at the moment. That's what this is sort of saying. Okay, so let's see what the Mercury Oracle has to say about the path of this for you. It's intriguing. So firstly, we have drop into the field. Yeah, I think this is saying the unexpected sort of energy here, the opportunity. It's like if you can drop into it, like look at it before you make a decision, be in the field. It's like you don't know. The tricky thing is it's almost like you have to walk under the wreath to know it enough. It's how to do that without having committed to it till you're sure. It's like if you have a way of talking with others that are part of this, getting a bit more of an idea, like almost, it's a bit like sort of somebody coming in and interning for a few days and then deciding whether that's somewhere they want to work. And for some of you, it might literally be that. That's a really good thing to do if you can. Otherwise, what otherwise can you find out? Can you research the opportunity? The more you can kind of immerse yourself in some of it before you make the decision, the better. Go. Like you definitely need to look at this. This is the Chariot. You've got to make a decision about it or do something about it. But it's like we will have a look at what else is around. Go. But this is like you have to take action in some form. You've got to at least explore this, is what it's saying. Call upon the dead. For some of you, you have like mediumship abilities. Also have a look at, does this align not only with your life path, but also with kind of almost your ancestral stuff? Plus I'm getting like a very specific thing around career. If this is some enterprise that's grown out of something that failed, then find out about that. Because either it's sorted it out and it's fine, or it will fail again. We have sea nettle jellyfish. I feel like this as it's going to be some sort of spirit guide for you, but I feel like with that is get into the emotion of it. Don't ignore the emotional feeling and pay attention to your emotions. They kind of like, I feel like the jellyfish lights up the deep underwater, so it's sort of like it will light up some of this for you. If you really think about what does this feel like emotionally. Find air. Yeah, find information. Like this is all about getting information because this has come out of left field in any way that you can. So let's see a little bit about get moving. What's that talking about? Orb weaver. So you've got some interesting sort of spirit guide energy here. I always think with the spider, yeah, actually what I'm getting about the spider is the spider weaves its web, but it always can kind of reweave if it needs to. I was only thinking about this the other day because I go on these walks early in the morning to do my exercise regime. And a lot of the time, because I'm living in suburbia, I'll walk into a spider thing and then be really freaked out for a while about whether the spider's on me or whatever. But the thing that like was making me think about it, or the thing I was thinking about that's similar to this, is that it's really interesting. Like a spider will build that, and then like just one random human walking through it will break half of it up, but then they can just reweave it in a different way or in a slightly different place. So I feel like there's an energy here of almost you could try this out. If you wanted to, you could just drop into it and find it as you go along, because you can always weave your way into something else. So I think it's like, don't sweat it too much. Let's see around dropping into the field if we can see just a little bit more about what that's actually saying. Coyote. Oh, gee, there's like a lot of like, I think for some of you, like the call upon the dead sort of energy too, like the going into the depths. If you do shamanism, like go into the lower world. Like I think you'll get the answers that you need around this. And get the protection. So you've got the Sekhmet, the sort of like the cat energy. You've got the jellyfish. Coyote is like, to me, it's like, because it's a canine breed, it's like a friendship energy, but it's a wild friendship energy. So it could be saying for some of you that this actual wild, unexpected thing is coming by a friendship circle rather than a professional circle. It might be the other reason why you're not entirely sure about it. But if that's the case, you can maybe ask more, because it is coming from a friendship circle. Just want to get one more around go. Recognize other realities. Yeah, this is very, it's in the same line of what you're doing, but it's different. And there are other, it's almost like the decision about this, because it's not really clear whether this is a bit of a risk financially in your career, but you can always weave your way out if you need to. Or whether it's really going to be stable around that, and that's all fine, because you don't know. This is a call to exploration. It's an opportunity. You're being welcomed into it. Do your due diligence to the degree you can. And if you really don't feel it, you can walk away. Like, the world is not going to collapse, but it is operating on giving you an opportunity to explore something different. So this is what this energy is, the energy coming through. And it has the Neptunian risk that it's not right. But I really feel, particularly with the orb weaver turning up, that you can navigate this if you need to. Okay, let's see some other astrology that's in your chart potentially influencing this. We've got Chiron and Pluto. Okay, there's some very deep healing energy around this. Plus, I also think it's, again, with the fierce protection you have here and the orb weaver, if you did something and you think, oh, wow, I shouldn't have done that, there is a very protective and very healing energy, and you can change again. This is like what I think. It's sort of like, you can always change the road that you're wandering down. Like, it's like there is a healing energy. It's a powerful, protective, healing energy around this for you. And there could be something healing in doing this, just in being welcomed. Like, for some of you, it may be, it's really unexpected because you didn't think, your managers thought you were going to be a manager or something, and now you're being welcomed to do it, and you're a little bit like, oh, what does this mean? But it's also healing. The change itself is healing in some way. And we have Mars and Jupiter. Yeah, like that's why it's saying go. It's like, whatever happens, this situation is going to expand you, and you do have the protection. It may or may not be a long-term thing. It may or may not really work out like the way you want financially, but you can always shift back. It's like, it's not going to close the door. This is giving you an opportunity to explore another organization, another group, another approach. And you are being welcomed. You are being recognized. So that, I think, is genuine, but it's just, what does this mean? The only way you can find out is explore it. It's okay that if you don't want to, but you'll never know if that's the case, I guess. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to finish up, as I said in the introduction. Oh, sorry, I just knocked the camera. But you might have missed it because it was a very long introduction. I'm sorry about that. We're going to finish up as I do sometimes, where I just draw 5 cards from a tarot deck. So I'm going to ask you to choose a number between 1 and 5, and that will then correspond with how I, really bring all this together for you. So it's a further kind of delineation within the collective for this reading. If you already have a number, great. If you don't, pause and come up with it. You can have more than one number, but try and have a main one if you do have more than one. So, okay, for number 1, we have 8 of Wands reversed. For number 2, we have 9 of Cups. For number 3, we have the Tower. Wow, okay. For number 4, we have 6 of Wands. And for number 5, we have Page of Wands. Okay. So, it does really differ depending upon, like the risks or the potential benefits and all that, and the amount of change differs depending upon what you chose in terms of your number. If you chose number 1, you may want to slow this down, and you may possibly be able to. Or you may find that you kind of initially get welcomed, and then really understanding it and getting the flow of this takes some time. But that's okay. Either way, I think that if you're slowing it down a bit, you'll still be able to make the decision. If something is slow when it's coming in, that could be good because it is really unknown. If you chose number 2, I would seriously consider looking at doing this, because I think it will answer a wish for you. But you can't know that till you do it. But this is a very positive thing for you, I think. Even if you only did it for a while. If you chose number 3, this is going to this is the one time where I would do the due diligence, because I don't think with the orb weaver you can necessarily weave your way back to something. You can weave your way out of it if it's not what you wanted, but I'm not sure that you can go back. So this is a major change, and it potentially burns some bridges. So you need to make sure it's something you want to do. But it could be saying that you have to do it because, in fact, where you are wouldn't be that stable either. Like, a change is actually necessary. If you chose number 4, this is really in recognition of something. You really have been recognised. It is a sign of that. And enjoy that. Whatever you do, enjoy the fact you've been recognised. And if you chose number 5, this is going to answer a creative drive or wish that you have, but maybe you haven't really been focusing on. But it's important to look at it in that context. Do you feel it's going to take you, let you fly where you want to fly? And that might be the defining thing for you, or the decision point to know whether to take it up or not. So I hope that resonates for you. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If so, please like the video and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome, pile 3, to your reading. So you came to the reading with the sun, the centre. So the sun, as I was sort of saying at the beginning in the introduction, I think the sun's been quite dominant with this. Maybe it becomes dominant when there's an eclipse operating. But definitely there's a sense here of the life path is the center of things. So whether or not you are heading this particular energy, this new initiative is the center of everything, and so it's part of that, or whether it's almost, you see here there's the different planets going around the sun, whether it's actually an orbiting planet around the sun that is drawn to the center but has its own orbit. Whatever it is, the thing that's interesting about this, it's whatever's coming in is going to take time. You're going to need to be patient. With the green corn moon, with the patience here, like the moon is saying this is going to take time. And then with the sun, we've got your year progression. It suggests to me, and there was one of the other readings in this, where I feel like there's at least a year-long period that we're talking about that is being instigated. For some of you, you may be Aries, so this is kind of like a new year, like it's kind of the new moon being in there feels like it connects very much with your sun's journey. So that could be it. The other thing I'm getting is if you have access to an astrologer or you're an astrologer, I would be suggesting having a look at your progressed sun. Like, there's a thing in astrology that talks about progressions. So I don't know the mathematics around that, but it is a way of sort of seeing how energy is operating with you now at whatever stage you are in your life. Is a very powerful astrological approach. So I would think for some of you, if you are trying to really work out how long this is going to take and how it fits with your life path, that could be a thing to do. But in any case, as I say, I think the central question around this, given that first card, is going to be, this is a slow moving change. It's the new energy that's coming through, but it's a slow moving change. And one of the questions will be, is it kind of dominated more by an orbiting planetary energy, or is it dominated by your sun? So I think for this it'll be interesting. At one point we're going to be looking at other planetary energies, and what I would be thinking here is it's almost the properties of those planetary energies, if we don't come up with the sun or the moon, that are very important to this in some way, but that's a little bit later in the reading. What we're going to do right now is we're going to use the Akashic Truth Oracle, and we're going to ask what area of life this is predominantly in for the collective that come to this reading. And I've said, for some reason, I just felt I had to say this for each of the readings in this, that there may be that for some it's not in this area. That doesn't mean you go, oh, I've got the wrong reading, unless further on, and in one of the readings it became really obvious it was all about that, and really to be at that reading when you don't feel that's the change or that's a new area was not going to be the right choice. But generally, if this comes up as relationship, but it's about career for you, then just apply that. Okay, so the area where this is going on is romance and partnership. Okay, so this is a very key love relationship energy we're talking about. You may already know who this person is. They may already feel like the center of your world, but you're progressing. It's taking a long time. Or it may be that someone comes in and it feels like kind of a divine counterpart or something like that, because you've got the sun moon energy, very alchemical. But you'd have to there's patience that's necessary. For some, it may be because the person's involved with someone or you're involved with someone. So there needs to be other changes operating. And so then what's orbiting around might be the other people and the other influences. But this is something, I'd also be looking at the progression of things like Venus and Mars in your chart, given this energy. But let's see what the Akashic Truth Oracle wants to say about a piece of advice around this. See it through. You don't always finish what you start and then talk badly to yourself because of it. Break the karmic pattern by seeing a project through to the end and then be proud of what you accomplished. Okay. This is probably a very key relationship, whether or not it's the one you're meant to be with, whether it's your soulmate, and it could be, or whether it is sort of something that is for a particular time. It's going to try your patience. But the sun is saying it will progress. You will progress in it. The relationship will progress, and it will have whatever time it's going to have. And for some, when you see it through, you push through with the patience, it's going to last. But it's like, don't walk away from this. So the Neptune energy in this is quite interesting. It may be where you're feeling like is this just, am I just kidding myself about this relationship or something, or is something duplicitous going on? But this is saying regardless, there's a kind of a to be on your life path and to either in this relationship make it work or learn from it to make the relationship you're meant to be in work. You can't just walk away from it. So let's use tarot. So we're going to use firstly a deck that I feel has very Moon and Neptunian energy, to firstly look at what the moon is saying with the new moon in Aries, and then to look at how Neptune could be affecting this and how real it feels, or what could be confusing or unclear in it. Then we're going to use a different deck around the sun energy, and we're actually going to do a yes/no coin toss to see whether or not this is something that's about your life path or not. And so what will be really key there is if it says yes, it's about your life path, it doesn't necessarily mean it has to be the one, but it might be more likely to be the one. If it's not the one and it said yes, it's on your life path, it's something about this experience will help you find or identify or recognize the one, I guess. If it says no, it could just be a relationship that doesn't have to last for your life path, may still last, but you need to see it through so that you kind of feel like you give a relationship the chance. So what is going on? What's the new moon energy? What's the new initiative, new moon in Aries energy going on? We have Judgment, reverse. It's kind of suggesting it's not on your life path, but we'll see. 3 of Wands, 2 of Pentacles, 9 of Swords, and the 9 of Wands reversed. Okay, yeah, this relationship's going to be a bit of hard work, I have to say. Doesn't mean it isn't rewarding, but it's like it's not easy. Now, some of the most powerful and important loves are not easy, okay? And they turn up like tower relationships and it's like, oh, it's so vulnerable because it's so intense. So the fact that it's not easy does not mean that it's not important. And it is saying you really kind of need to give it some patience, see it through for some reason. Um, but it is saying with Judgment Reverse, the moon is saying like, this is not, you have a bit of time to make a decision and you will have a decision to make at some point, and it's probably about whether to commit or not, but it's not necessarily like it's not part of your broader life path that you have to be with this person. It's not some karma you've got to sort out with this person. It's not something like that. So being with them is not about something at that kind of level of karmic balance or karmic sort of clearance or clearing ancestral karma or any of those sort of things. It's like it's not required. You could go away on your own. It's not like if you didn't see it through, even though it's sort of saying do that, like it's worth doing that. You could go on your own. But like it's almost also saying that because there isn't this for either of you probably, it's not that there's a requirement in your life path to clear this energy and sort something out. You're both kind of like in the Three of Wands thing, which is do we go forward together on a journey or do we go on our own? So it's like you both have that choice. Like choice is absolutely open in this relationship. But it's a tricky relationship. It worries you. You feel guilty. The person's a bit touchy or you feel a bit touchy sometimes. It's sort of like there's something about this energy that's not easy, but it has some prospects if you work through it. But it's much more your own psychology and their psychology and that kind of thing, and responses and maybe other relationships around that are impacting this rather than something like you're not dealing with sort of I've known this person before and we've got to sort this out. It's also not an ex, I'd say, by the way. Okay, so then what does Neptune have to do with this? Like what is going on there? And does it give a sense that this is kind of real and stable and so forth, or is there something illusory in it that you have to realise? Queen of Pentacles, the Lovers, Page of Pentacles, and the Eight of Swords reverse. Okay. The issue, okay, it is a real thing. This person really likes you, you really like them. There's no other person involved in this. There's no cheating. There's nothing duplicitous. There is actually the possibility, if you wanted to commit to this person. Like you could do that, and that would be on your life path probably, or if it's not about your life path, it could be something that you would enjoy. And you could grow together. You could even have a family together. Like this could be the one because it just fits. So that's true. With the Eight of Swords reverse, you've got to release some sort of attitudes or ideas. So where Neptune might be coming in is that you might have some sort of set criteria. Like this person might not fit your normal type. They might not fit the cutout, so to speak. So you Neptune, like what could be making you doubt or make you worried if they're the right person or whether, you're kind of like compatible, is that they might be very different to what you normally think about. And that might be one of the real reasons it's saying see it through. Then you can decide, do you want to commit at that point or is it really too different? But I feel like it's more your own beliefs about relationships and what sort of relationship should be to be committed that's the issue that Neptune's affecting here, rather than its actual potential. There's a lot of potential in this. Doesn't happen, but you don't have to do it. As I say, you don't have to do it. You're not going to bring about bad karma if you don't, and you're not going to experience bad karma if you don't. I also feel like what I'm really feeling there is like other people's opinions, like be wary of other people's opinions. Like the center of this is you and the person. You've got to work it out between yourselves, not let everybody else's opinion come in. So I don't think it's about karma. Doesn't mean though that this couldn't fit in with your life path in some way. So we're going to use a yes/no coin. I'm going to throw it off screen and then just come forward and do this to see what it is. I'm throwing it off screen because I could break the camera if I throw it on screen. And that's just to ask, is this about your life path? Is this about your sun energy? Given that like Neptune's there, and given we've got an eclipse, is this sort of like taking you off the path or irrelevant to the path, or is it part of the path? Even if it's like you don't have to have the relationship, seeing a relationship through and making a decision about it rather than kind of like getting worried and withdrawing could be part of your life path. So we'll just see what we get. So is it part of your life path? Yes. Okay. So that's why you need to see it through. It could be as much as this person is your soul twin through to, it's not really that, like you don't have to be with it. Like there's no karmic thing and there's no, we were part of one soul and split apart sort of thing. But there is enough here that is true love and warmth and safety and security that it sets you up for your life path because it gives you that part of it, like a love, a family, whatever it is that you're looking for. So let's see what the sun has to say about this then. With Neptune kind of like bringing to the surface any like attitudes or thoughts you might have that aren't really functioning for you. But also, with the kind of, you're not sure, you're not kind of feeling driven in that sense by karma or the intensity or the tower of it all. So let's see what the sun has to say. Ace of Swords reversed, Nine of Coins reversed, Ace of Wands, Page of Coins reversed, Three of Swords. Okay, all right. So the sun is actually showing why there's not the drive. Like, as I say, there is something here. I actually think it's a good relationship, to be frank. But the sun is saying you haven't made a decision. Like, there is a lot about your attitudes. You need to think differently about this to really, really maximize it. And you have to separate out from crowdsourcing opinions. Like, there's something about crowdsourcing opinions, and or you may be not wanting to commit because you might feel, I'm only going out with this person because I don't want to be alone. And that there's more to it than that. There really is more to it than that. So it's either you listen too much to everybody else, which some people do around relationships, or maybe we all do at various points, or you're wondering, am I only really doing this because I don't want to be alone? There is actually a lot of passion here. If you just allow yourself to get past that and enjoy that, because you are going to need to have a bit of patience with this. So like, it's good that there is that passion and energy. But at the moment, it's just showing your ambivalence. That one side of you don't really want to separate. You do actually find this person attractive. It's not that you don't. It's not that you're thinking, oh, I've just got to go out with someone. This will do. It's not that. You do find them attractive, but you don't know at this point. So I'm saying you don't know whether this is going to work. There's a lot of potential for it to work as long as you get out of almost a defeatist attitude to start with. But you don't want to leave them. So that's good because you're going to need to give it patience and see how it plays out. And I do think there's other people who have opinions and you've just got to kind of, I don't think this is really an issue with the person. I think it's other people around. So you just need to push that energy away a bit and make it your decision. Okay, so let's see what the Mercury Oracle has to say. See what Mercury wants to say about this energy. Organize. This is all the sort of Pentacles energy. Maybe some of this too is, if you've got friends or family and they're used to you being at their beck and call and there's a push from them because you actually need to spend time with this person, it might be like kind of get your life organized in a way that you can look at this and see if it fits. Until you've sort of really sorted that out, you won't know. Visualize, yeah, kind of like try and visualize what this could be. Visualize if you could sort of see you and this person at the center of everything and everything organized around it rather than it being just something you're trying to slot in. What would that look like? Sagittarius. There is a thing with you about freedom. So like part of this is also freedom, and it might be also why it's saying, you have to kind of see this through. It's like give something a chance. Don't sort of run away the first time sort of something doesn't seem perfect because you're adjusting and all relationships are adjusting and compromise. Also, like, do you agree with each other philosophically? Like on a core belief level, that's important. Mars. Yeah, look, there's a lot of sexual passion here. So enjoy that and like allow, like it's through the actions. It's only through actions and connection and passion you're going to find out. So visualize certainly, but also act. And Neptune, yeah, but Neptune is a thing. This is actually how to deal with this issue. The Neptune is all about the freedom and the things that would make you try and move quickly or not believe this could be. So this is saying this is the way to counter that. Just go into the passion of it, act on the passion of it, and then visualize, if you can, being you and this person being in the center, as I say, rather than it being like a point that just has to fit in. That makes it more of a partnership. Let's just see a little bit more about these three principles then, if they're what's being suggested to you. Around the organizing principle, embrace the void. This is different. You've got to allow something to develop. So this is why it's also patience, because it's like the void is the creative pool out of which everything comes. When they sort of say order out of chaos, it's sort of the void is chaos. So you've got to go within the realm of all potentiality before you start to try and slot something in. This is a big thing in many ways. It's like it has the potential to really slot into your life path and to be, a family or a love aspect of it for you. But it's not like, oh, I've got a busy schedule, I'll see you on Saturday. Like, you've got to really embrace the opportunity to allow it to grow. When we look at visualize, find fire, like think about the passion, think about what inspires you. Visualize the person in your life and whether you feel like that kind of puts a flame to everything. And Mars. Oh, wow. This card comes up a lot for me in readings. I just love it. I think that's why it keeps coming up. Use your lock as a key. I just think it's a brilliant card. There's something here about the energy. Actually, because I think some of the energy around this is partly your own belief structures. Like, you have this set of criteria. So if you start to understand that there's a different way of using the criteria, rather than, as I say, trying to slot something in, you start to visualize the whole thing, the whole grid in a way, with this at the center and how it builds out from that. So how everything else fits into that rather than the other way around. So the lock that you have on things, if you switch that around. Plus, I think for some of you, the lock might be the views of other people. So if you kind of understand their responses, and then you see, does that fit in with what matters to me? You're using that energy. I feel like I don't know whether the creator meant it this way, but I feel like it's a very martial arts energy. It's kind of like in martial arts, you're using the energy of the other person to create your energy and your dynamism, I guess. It's a similar thing here. It's using almost what is oppositional in you or oppositional in others or difficult about the situation to be the thing that becomes the key to really explore it. So it's about, you're meant to give this a bit of an exploration. Even if at the end of the day, it's just that you have a really enjoyable fling. But there is a lot of potential here. And you've got to kind of move past the, I'm going to fit this in somehow, to, I'm going to make this the center and then work out everything else fits in. And then I'm going to be able to decide if this is something I want to commit to. So that's the message that's operating here. Okay, let's see what other planetary energy, apart from we know Mars, is operating with this. And that I thought was going to be particularly important about the circling energy around. So we have Mars again and Mercury. So I think this is saying this Mercury oracle bit's very important. The Mars energy was there and the Mercury oracle, like that's kind of meant to really bring it in and together for you to understand what this message is. And Saturn and Uranus, yeah. You've got to break through your own blocks. You do have some blocks, pile 3. No criticism meant at all, but you do. And it's sort of like once you actually do that, you can, this is like, I feel like this is like, as I say, it's like a grid that at the moment you're trying to slot a relationship into, but if you could almost shake the grid out and kind of rearrange everything, that's really this, because it will eventually become the grid. It has the foundation and the structure, but it has to be kind of like mixed around and becoming chaos and then reformed. That's the energy that we're looking at. Okay, so I did say in the introduction that how I was going to close out was that I'm going to ask you to think of a number from 1 to 5 because I'm going to deal out 5 tarot cards. You may or may not have heard that because it was a very long introduction. Apologies for that. If you did, you probably already have your number. If not, if you could pause or think of a number now as I'm shuffling. You can go to more than one number, I feel like saying, but choose a main one if that's the case. But pause if you need to work out yours first, because I'm about to lay them out. Okay, for number 1, we have the Empress reversed. For number 2, we have the 5 of Pentacles. For number 3, we have Justice reversed. Oh, this is interesting. For number 4, we have the Hanged One reversed. And for number 5, we have the 4 of Wands. Okay. All right. So if you chose number 1, you may have issues that come from the maternal side of your family, your mother's view, what was the right sort of person to be involved with, all that kind of thing. That pressure could be there. Or you could be suppressing some of this because you're focusing on other things, the internal divine feminine in you. So either way, I think it's sort of like, what is the imprinting from very young that you need to kind of like mix up and throw into the air so that you can explore this. For some of you, I am getting that when I'm saying, oh, you could have a child, you might have thought, no, and you don't have to. Like, there's no you have to's with this. It's not like if you end up with this person, you have to have a family. It's just that it's a possibility. If you chose number 2, there is a real opportunity here not to feel so alone and so isolated, because I think you do feel that a bit. And you might be worrying that that's why. As I say, it's like it almost is a feeling like you're going, well, is that why I'm doing it, rather than really wanting something. But like, there is a real opportunity here to be included. So bear that in mind. If you chose number 3, it's a bit like over with the Empress reverse. It's kind of like you might have thought, no, I don't want to get married. I don't want to have a family. Fine. Again, you don't have to. So one part of you might be, I'm fine with having a relationship, but I'm not going to have all that legal stuff. And that's perfectly fine. For others, it might be that becomes a tipping point. This person may or may not want to do that, and that may be a tipping point for the choice. And lastly, it could be that some of the block you have to this might have been from being cheated on or something like that in the past. That's not going to be the issue here at all, at all. Like, I think it's a very genuine connection, but you may have to reconsider things in the past. If you chose number 4, this is a completely different way of looking at things. This, as I say, it's like someone who doesn't fit the cutout. They're very different to what you would have seen yourself with. So allow yourself to look at that and visualize it and consider what that would mean. And if you chose number 5, this is going to be lovely if you do decide to do it. Like, I do think it's actually, this is the 4 of Wands. I do think there's a lot of potential in this relationship. But as I say, you don't have to do it. Like, it's not required of you to do it, but I think if you chose number 5, it could be lovely. It could just be like a reward and a real sense of belonging and family and whatever that means to you. So I feel really excited for you. I think this looks really lovely, but it's different, and you need to figure out whether it fits. So that's the energy for you that's going on at the moment. So I hope that resonates for you. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If so, please like and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings.